Good evening, children. Welcome back. Welcome to YepMaster, the school foundation program. As we have started discussing about the next chemistry topic, that is alkenes, right? In the previous class, we have focused on the introduction part as well as we have started looking at the structure of the alkene, that is the carbon involved in double bond formation, the hybridization at carbon, and how the double bond is going to be formed. And we have discussed in the previous class about the double bond. It consists of one sigma bond and one pi bond. The sigma bond is going to be formed by the sp2 hybrid orbital overlap of two carbon atoms, and the pi bond is going to be formed by the overlap of the p atomic orbitals which are not participated in hybridization. That is, unhybridized p orbitals on two carbon atoms will overlap in a sidewise manner, and thereby they result in the formation of a pi bond. So the carbon-carbon double bond, if we observe, it consists of a sigma bond and a pi bond. So here, as we have discussed in the previous class, the carbon atom will be in a sp2 hybridization. So the hybridization of the carbon atom in the case of alkenes, which is having a double bond, or the carbon atom which is involved in double bond formation, exhibits sp2 hybridization. Okay. So here, as we have seen in the previous class, the carbon electronic configuration, the outermost electronic configuration 2s and 2p atomic orbital electronic configuration, if we are going to represent in the form of boxes, we can show in this way: 2s2, 2p2. Okay, and this is the ground state electronic configuration. If energy is absorbed by the carbon, in that case one of the electron get excited into the p atomic orbital, and thereby we are going to get each one electron each in 2s and 3p atomic orbitals. But the only 2 p atomic orbitals and 1 s atomic orbital will involve in hybridization, and thereby it will result in the formation of 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals. 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals are going to be observed or formed in this case of hybridization. Okay. And we know that the 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals will be projected towards the corners of an equilateral triangle on the carbon atom. Okay. And in that case, if we observe, for example, let me take you to the example of the alkene CH2 double bond CH2 ethylene, the first member, let us see. Okay. So here the carbon atom undergoing sp2 hybridization, and thereby 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals are formed, and these 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals will be projected towards the corners of an equilateral triangle. Okay. And similar is the case with the other carbon atom. The other carbon atom also undergo the sp2 hybridization and gives sp2 hybrid orbitals. The 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals will be projected towards the corners of an equilateral triangle. So this carbon atom, one sp2 hybrid orbital, and the other carbon atom, other sp2 hybrid orbitals are going to overlap with one another. So hybrid orbital of one carbon, hybrid orbital of other carbon are overlapping with one another. So therefore I will write here, one sigma bond is going to be formed between the two carbon atoms. And in the previous, just now we have discussed that one p orbital is not going to participate in hybridization. It will remain as it has unhybridized p orbital. So it is going to be remain in the, otherwise we will represent it with the other color so that you can easily understand. So the p orbital will remain as it is on the carbon atom. This carbon atom also have one p orbital with one electron. So both the p orbitals having one electrons, and moreover, since the two carbon atoms are connected with the sigma bond by the overlap of the sp2 hybrid orbitals, now there will be a overlap that can take place between the unhybridized p orbital of two carbon atoms, and thereby we get one more bond, that is pi bond. So here the one bond that is formed is a sigma bond, other bond that is formed is a pi bond. So two bonds are going to be formed in this case. Okay. Since the carbon atom is involving in the sp2 hybridization, and one of the p orbital is in a unhybridized form, it will remain as it is. So the p orbital is present as it is. Since the two carbon atoms are overlapping, automatically the two p orbitals will come closer. As they come closer, there will be a overlap that can take place in a sidewise manner. Sidewise manner overlap will occur and thereby pi bond is going to be formed. Okay. On the other side, what about the other two sp2 hybrid orbitals on each carbon atom? Here the hydrogen is present, so the one hydrogen s atomic orbital, hydrogens s atomic orbitals will overlap with the sp2 hybrid orbitals of the carbon atom, and thereby we can expect the formation of two bonds between the hydrogen and carbon, hydrogen and carbon, hydrogen and carbon. And of course here the bond that is going to be formed is a sigma bond. Okay, and how it is going to be formed? The sp2 hybrid orbital of carbon, s atomic orbital of hydrogen are overlapping, sp2 hybrid orbital of carbon and s atomic orbital of hydrogen are overlapping. Here also the same thing, sp2 hybrid orbital, s orbital overlap, sp2 hybrid orbital, s orbital overlap takes place, and thereby it results in formation of 4 more sigma bonds in the case of ethene. Okay. So here the carbon atom is involved in sp2 hybridization, one s atomic orbital, two p atomic orbitals will overlap with one another, I mean they undergo hybridization, and it will result in the formation of 3 equivalent sp2 hybrid orbitals. The 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals on carbon atom will be projected towards the corners of an equilateral triangle, so that the bond angle, if we observe the bond angle will come out to be 120 degrees. So in such a way they will orient, and one carbon atom sp2 hybrid orbital, other carbon atom sp2 hybrid orbital, they will overlap with one another and form a sigma bond. Since these carbon atoms are having one unhybridized p orbital, by the formation of sigma bond the two carbon atoms will come closer. Because of the close proximity, the sidewise manner overlap between the p orbital takes place and forms a pi bond. Okay. And since the other two sp2 hybrid orbitals of this carbon overlap with the s atomic orbital of two hydrogen atoms, the same thing is with the other side also, and thereby we get 4 more sigma bonds between the carbon and hydrogen. So total if we observe, how many sigma bonds are there in this case? This is a sigma bond, this is also a sigma bond, this one is sigma bond, and this one sigma bond. So total we have 5 sigma bonds and 1 pi bond that is present in the case of CH2 double bond CH2, that is ethene. In case of ethene molecule, we are going to have 5 sigma bonds and 1 pi bond. Okay. So 5 sigma bonds and 1 pi bond is formed in this process. So this is how we can easily explain the formation of a sigma bond as well as a formation of a pi bond on the carbon atom. Okay. So here you can clearly observe, in order to have a double bond between the two carbon atoms, we should have at least 2 carbon atoms. So 2 carbon atoms, if you take the first member of the alkene series is ethene. Okay. So in ethene we have 2 carbons connected with a double bond, in that we have 1 pi bond and 1 sigma bond. Sigma bond is a strong bond. Why it is strong bond? Because it is taking place in a axial orientation, head on overlap is going on, and moreover the involved, the sigma bond is going to be formed by the overlap of hybridized orbitals. So hybrid orbital overlap is little more compared to that of the atomic orbitals, and the bond is going to be formed with a strong sigma bond. And p atomic orbitals are overlapping in sidewise manner, giving the pi bond. So pi bond is little weaker compared to the sigma bond. Okay. Other side we are going to have other 4 hydrogens. So 4 sigma bonds are going to be formed in this case. Okay. So the same thing is represented here. These are the 2 p orbitals. So this is a p orbital and this is p orbital present on the 2 carbon atoms. Because of the formation of sigma bond, the 2 carbon atoms and their p orbitals will come closer, and thereby the sidewise manner overlap is possible and result in the formation of a pi bond. Students, as I told you, it is very important that the values like the bond length, carbon-carbon bond length in this case is 134 picometers, and the bond angle if we observe between the hydrogen, carbon and carbon, it is coming out to be 121.7 degrees, and the bond angle here hydrogen, carbon and hydrogen, it is coming out to be 116.6 degrees, and the bond length, carbon hydrogen bond length will be 110 picometers. These values are also very important as far as the examinations are concerned. Okay, you should remember, at least remember these values for first molecule, that is ethene molecule. No need to remember the other molecules, you can leave it. Okay, and in the last class we have discussed that carbon carbon single bond length will be 154 picometers, whereas carbon carbon double bond will be 134 picometers. These values are also very important, you have to remember, and generally we expect these things in the examination. Okay, right. Now let us move on to the here the presence of weak pi bond makes alkenes to behave as a source of loosely held mobile electron. As we have discussed, between the two carbon atoms we have one sigma bond and one pi bond. Okay, so pi bond is a weak bond, whereas sigma bond is a strong bond. Since pi bond is a weak bond, okay, we can say that alkenes behave as a source of loosely held mobile electrons. So easily reagents can come and attack on this particular double bond. Okay, so reagents can come and attack on the pi bond, and thereby they can participate in the reaction. So the meaning of this particular statement is that alkenes are little more reactive in this case because of the presence of weaker pi bond when compared with the alkanes. We have seen alkanes are generally called as paraffins, very little affinity or very little reactivity that we can see in the case of alkanes. Okay, but in the case of alkenes, since the pi bond is present, pi bond is a weak bond, it is loosely held mobile electrons are present in the pi bond, and thereby it will act as a source of electrons. So source of electrons, if they are present, automatically reagents can easily attack, and moreover since electrons are more here, electrophile attack is easy, and thereby the electrophilic reaction generally takes place in the case of alkenes. Okay, we are going to see all these reactions when we are discussing about the chemical properties, etc. Okay, so the statement indicates that alkenes are more reactive compared with the alkanes. So when you write the reactivity, alkenes are more reactive than alkanes. So when compared with the alkanes, alkenes are more reactive, enes are more reactive than enes. That you have to keep it in mind. Okay, right. Let us look at the nomenclature. How we are going to name the organic compounds alkene, how to name the alkenes. So in that case again we have to follow the same IUPAC nomenclature rules. Okay, and in general, whenever we have organic compounds can be named according to the IUPAC system of nomenclature, and there will be a trivial naming system, that is common naming system also present for the organic compounds. So in this case of alkanes also we can expect the trivial names, and we also expect the IUPAC name. So in general in the competitive examinations we can expect a question based on the naming of an alkene. So alkenes nomenclature is also very important as far as the competitive examinations are concerned. Okay, let us see how we are going to name the alkenes according to the given rules and regulations. So let us first see the IUPAC rules. So in this case we have to select longest continuous carbon chain. So this is what we have seen while we are naming the alkanes, right? There also we have selected the longest continuous carbon chain. So we have to look at the continuity of the carbon chain, and we should select the longest one. But here one condition is there. What is that? Select the longest continuous carbon chain having carbon carbon double bond. So we should include the carbon carbon double bond of the alkene in selecting the longest continuous carbon chain. So whenever we select the longest continuous carbon chain, in that case we have to always consider the carbon which is involved in double bond. So we should take the two carbon atoms which are connected by double bond. So that to be selected, that those two carbons are also should present in the longest continuous carbon chain, first thing. Okay. Then what we have to do? As usual, what we have done in the case of alkanes, we have to number the carbon chain. Okay. How to number the carbon chain here? We have to number the carbon chain in such a way that the doubly bonded carbon atom gets the lowest possible number. What we have to do? We have to first select the longest continuous carbon chain, first thing, okay, and then what we have to see? We have to see that the doubly bonded carbon atom gets the lowest possible number when we are numbering the carbon chain. When we are numbering the carbon chain, we should see that the carbon which is involved in double bond formation should be getting the lowest possible number. Okay. For example, now let me write this way. I am writing only the, okay. So here if I am going to look into this particular compound, I am not giving the hydrogens, I am not satisfying the hydrogens, I am only looking at the carbon chain. So here we can select the carbon chain in two fashions. What is that? I can select in this way. I can select the carbon chain in this way. Okay, this is first selection. In this case, if I observe how many carbon atoms are present, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 carbon atoms in this particular chain. Okay, is there any other possibility which we can use such that we can select the longest continuous carbon chain having maximum number of carbon atoms? Yes, we can do in other way around. How we can do it? We can go in this fashion. I can select this way. Okay. So if I am going to select in this fashion, why I am going only in this direction? Because I have to select the longest carbon chain including the carbon-carbon double bond. Okay. So if I am going in this direction, how many number of carbon atoms are present? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when we are going in this direction, we are getting this particular selection giving 6 carbon atoms in the chain. Okay, 6 carbon atoms are present in the chain, right. If I am going in this direction, if I am selecting this way, if I am selecting the carbon chain in other direction, how many number of carbon atoms we have? We have only 5 carbon atoms. Only 5 carbon atoms are present in this direction. I have selected, we got 6 carbon atoms. So which one is preferred generally? We should always select the longest continuous carbon chain. The carbon chain having maximum number of carbon atoms you have to select, including the carbon-carbon double bond. So that has to be kept in mind. Okay. So we are doing in the same way, and of course we can go in this direction also. This way also we can go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only we are getting 4 carbon atoms, and moreover we are excluding the carbon atoms which are involved in the double bond formation. Okay. So this way also we can select, but we are getting only 4 carbon atoms, and moreover the carbon atom having double bond is neglected. So that is not the way to select the longest continuous carbon chain in the case of alkenes, right. Now let us as we have done the selection here, now we have to number the carbon chain. Okay. Let me first remove these things so that we can look into the okay. Yeah. Now we have selected this as the longest continuous carbon chain. Now we have to number the carbon chain in such a way that the doubly bonded carbon atom should get the lowest possible number. Okay. So let me number the carbon chain in 2 directions. Okay. Let me go from here. It is 1, this is 2, this carbon is 3, this one is 4, this is 5, and this is 6. This is one way of numbering the carbon chain. Okay, this is one way of numbering the carbon chain. But in this case, what is happening? I am giving the numbering in such a way that the doubly bonded carbon atom gets the 5th numbering. So this is the wrong way. Why? Let me number in other direction also. Let me start from here. This is 1, 2, this is 3, this one is 4, this is 5, this one is 6. So now I am numbering the carbon chain from here, this side. Okay. So I can number the carbon chain from left to right, or I can go from right to left. but here going from right to left, this way of numbering is the correct way of numbering, but numbering in a left to right fashion is the wrong way of numbering. Why it is so? Numbering the carbon chain in this particular case from right to left is the correct way, left to right is the wrong way. Why it is so? That is to say, in that case, if you observe, if I take the carbon atom which is involved in double bond formation, if I am moving in a left to right, let us say we are taking the numbering in this direction. So automatically if we observe the carbon which is having a double bond, what is the number? It is location of this particular carbon atom, it is 5. 5 is the position of the carbon which is involved in double bond formation when we are numbering from left to right. Okay. Now let me see from this direction. If you are moving from right to left, the carbon atom which is involved in the double bond formation gets first numbering. So we should always number the carbon chain, such that the doubly bonded carbon atom gets the lowest possible number. So in order to get the lowest possible number, this numbering is the correct way of numbering. The carbon atom, doubly bonded carbon atom should get the lowest possible number. If I am going in this direction, this carbon gets the lowest priority, and this is the carbon which is involved in double bond formation. So this is the correct way. If I am coming from left to right, the carbon atom involved in double bond formation gets the 5th position. So this is not the correct way of numbering the carbon chain. Okay. So these things you have to keep it in mind. First thing is you have to select the longest continuous carbon chain having maximum number of carbon atoms, including the carbons involved in double bond formation, first thing. And then number the carbon chain such that the doubly bonded carbon atom gets the lowest priority. Okay. So you can number in either direction. So look at the, first of all you have to go for numbering in either direction, left to right and right to left, and then select which one is the correct way. Okay. Then in that case always you have to keep it in mind, the doubly bonded carbon atom should get the lowest possible number. Okay. Once this is done, so from the parent name, the carbon atom that are present in the chain, the parent name is decided. Okay. So how we are going to select the parent name? As usual, what we have done in the case of alkanes. Okay. If we have one carbon atom, we call it as meth. If we have two carbon atoms, it is eth. For 3 carbon atoms, it is prop. 4 carbon atoms, it is but. 5 carbon atoms, pent. 6 carbon atoms, hex. 7 carbon atoms, ept. 8 carbon atoms, oct. 9 carbon atoms, none. Okay. 10 carbon atoms, dec. So the naming, the root word will remain the same, there is no change. Okay. So the parent name will be decided by the number of carbon atoms which are present in the longest continuous carbon chain. Just now what we have done is, this is how we have selected the carbon chain, right? Right? Now we have selected this as the continuous carbon chain having 6 carbon atoms in the chain. So automatically what could be the parent name here? The parent name is hex. Parent name, the root word is hex. 6 carbon atoms, so it should be named as hex. And moreover we have a double bond. So in that case what we have to, whenever we have unsaturation, when a double bond is present, we add ENE to the parent name. Okay. So you can add ENE to the parent name. Okay. It will becomes hex plus ene. Hexene. What is the name? Hexene. Hexene. But again here the unsaturation is present on the carbon atom which is labeled 1. So we have to indicate the position also. We have to indicate the position of the carbon double bond. So double bond position has to be indicated. So in that for that purpose we are numbering the carbon chain such that the doubly bonded carbon atom gets the lowest possible number. So we are writing the doubly bonded carbon atom in this case gets first numbering. So we are writing it as 1 hexene, hexene, 1 hexene, or in few areas even it is written as hex 1 ene. So you can also write the number, the location of the double bond, and you can mention the ene. So both can be represented as one area, or the one is written, location is written first and then followed by hexene. So both are correct. This is also correct of nomenclature, and this is also correct. You can write hex hyphen 1 hyphen ene. So this is also one way of representing the name of the alkene. Okay. So we can write hex 1 ene or 1 hex ene, one and the same, both are same. Okay. So here the parent name is decided by the number of carbon atoms present in the longest continuous carbon chain, and we have to indicate the position of the double bond with the location. So the location has to be written in this case. Okay. In case of alkanes, we don't never represented the single bond location. Okay, no need to represent, but here we have a single carbon carbon single bond and a carbon carbon double bond also. So in that case, what we have to do, we have to mention the position of the double bond. So in that case, we have to write the location before the ene, or you can write the location followed by the name as hexene, alkene, like any number. Here the number of carbon atoms are 6, so we are writing it as hexene. If the number of carbon atoms are 8, it becomes octene, etc. Okay. I think you got the clear idea how we are going to write the name. For suppose if we have any alkyl groups present on the longest carbon chain, what we have to do? We have to treat them as substituents, alkyl substituents, and we have to mention their name as a substituents with their positions present in the longest continuous carbon chain along with the position of the double bond. We have to even mention the position of the double bond, we have to even mention the position of the alkyl groups that are present on the carbon chain. Okay, right. Let us see some examples so that we can write it. So let me start with the first member, CH2 double bond CH2. How many carbon atoms are present in this case? We have only 2 carbon atoms, so I can number in either direction 1 and 2, or I can go in this direction also, same numbering system is given. So here, since we have 2 carbon atoms, so we write it as eth, and we have a double bond between the carbon atoms, so ENE is included, but I am not mentioning the position of the double bond here. Why I am not mentioning the position of the double bond? We have only 2 carbon atoms, so the ene should present between the 2 carbon atoms only, so no need to mention the position in this case. Okay. Let us look at one more with respect to the 3 carbon atoms, CH3 CH double bond CH2. So here if you observe, how many carbon atoms we have? We have 3 carbon atoms, and the root word automatically becomes prop. Okay, and we have a double bond, so we can give the numbering in this direction. Okay, so this direction numbering is the correct way of numbering, and of course whenever we say propene, so one double bond is present between the 2 carbon atoms, the other carbon atom will have a single bond. Okay, so again there is no need to mention about the position of the double bond. Okay, so we can just write it as propene. Prop means indicating 3 carbon atoms, ene indicates the double bond present in between the 2 carbon atoms among the 3 carbon atoms. So automatically the double bond will present here, or you can write the other way around. For suppose you can write this way also, CH2 double bond CH3. So this is also the same, propene only. So here you can go for numbering in 1, 2, 3 direction, but of course no need to number directly. Whenever we say propene, 2 carbon atoms are involved in double bond, 1 carbon atom is present with a single bond. Okay, so it is understood, right? No need to mention the position in this case, right? Let us look at one more example with the 4 carbon atoms. Okay, so let me write CH3 CH2 CH double bond CH2. So here if we observe, we have 4 carbon atoms, so automatically the root word is but, there is no doubt, it is but. Okay, and we have to number the carbon chain in such a way that the carbon that is involved in double bond formation should get the lowest priority. We can also go in other direction numbering the carbon chain. This becomes 1 and this becomes 2, this is 3, this is 4, Okay. So, this the numbering in this direction is correct and this is the wrong way of numbering. Why it is so? Because in this direction the doubly bonded carbon atom gets the first priority, whereas in this direction if we are numbering, the carbon involved in double bond formation getting the third position. So, automatically this is the wrong way of numbering and this should be the correct way of numbering. Since we have 4 carbon atoms and the double bond is present between the first carbon and second carbon atoms, so we should mention the location of the double bond, where it is present. From the first carbon, if you observe, the double bond is present between the first and second carbon atom. So, first one you have to take. So, we can write it as but hyphen 1 ene as a name. It has a double bond, it is butene, there is no doubt, but the double bond, if you observe where it is located among the 4 carbon atoms, it is located on the between the first and second carbon atoms. While we are numbering the carbon chain, the doubly bonded carbon gets the first priority. So, the location of this has to be mentioned. So, therefore, I am mentioning the 1 and followed by ene. So, it indicates it is but 1 ene, that is one way of writing the name, or I can also write it as 1 butene. This is also correct, 1 hyphen butene or but hyphen 1 hyphen ene. So, you can use in any direction. This is also correct way of naming and this is also the correct way of naming. Okay. Right. Let us look at one more option with respect to the 4 carbon chain. Okay. So, how we can write the 4 carbon chain, but the double bond location is going to change here. CH3, CH, double bond, CH, CH3. So, we have 4 carbons and a double bond between the carbon atoms, right. And now, if you observe the name of this particular compound, we can write it as but, there is no doubt, because we have 4 carbons. So, root word should be the but only, but if you number the carbon chain 1, 2, 3, 4. So, where is the double bond is present? The double bond is present between the second and third carbon atoms. So, when we are numbering the carbon chain, the doubly bonded carbon atom getting the lowest priority as 2. Okay. For suppose if you are numbering in either direction, in this direction also if you are going for numbering, it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4. In that case also, if we observe, the carbon atom which is involved in double bond formation gets the second position. So, second preference is second location becomes the second in either direction. So, you can number this particular compound from left to right or right to left, no problem, you will get the same thing. Okay. And then where is the double bond present? Double bond is present on the second carbon atom. So, we are writing it as but 2 and ENE indicating the double bond location. So, it is a 4 carbon chain, but the double bond is present between the second and third carbon atom. So, we are writing a but 2 ene. Okay. Or we can also write it as 2 butene. We can also write it as 2 butene. So, we can write it as 2 butene or but 2 ene, one and the same. Here but 1 ene or 1 butene, one and the same. I think you are getting the idea how we are writing the compound, where is the location of the double bond and how we are naming the alkene. Okay. Let us see some more examples so that you will get an idea about the numbering as well as the substitution that you have to take. Okay. For suppose let us have a carbon chain having 5 carbon atoms with a double bond in it. So, we can write two way the representation of the 5 carbon chain. So, it is CH3, CH2, CH2, CH double bond CH2. This is one way of writing the double bond between the 5 carbons. Okay. I will write in other fashion also. Let us see CH3, CH2, CH double bond CH, CH3. So, this is one way of writing the same compound, 5 carbons with a double bond, 5 carbon with a double bond. But of course, when we go for naming of this particular or the numbering of this particular chains. So, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have selected the longest continuous carbon chain having 5 carbon atoms. Here also I have a longest continuous carbon chain having 5 carbon atoms. In both the cases, the root word is same, that is pent. What is it? It is pent. So I can write pent in both the cases. Right? Now, number the carbon chain in such a way that the doubly bonded carbon atom should get the lowest priority or lowest number. So here if I observe, I have to start from this side so that the doubly bonded carbon gets the lowest position or the location number. So here double bond is present on the first carbon atom, so I am writing it as pent 1 ene, pent 1 ene, okay. And in this case if I observe, if I am going to number in this direction 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this is the correct way of numbering, from right to left is correct way of numbering in both the cases. You try from left to right also and then observe where we are getting the doubly bonded carbon atom position, okay. So here if I am going in this direction, the doubly bonded carbon atom gets the second position. So here double bond is present between the second carbon and third carbon atom. So we can write it as pent 2 ene. In first case it is pent 1 ene, now it is pent 2 ene, okay. So pent 2 ene, so we can write it as pent 2 ene, or we can write it as 2 pentene. We can also write it as 2 pentene, or here we can write this compound as 1 pentene, 1 pentene. So here 1 indicates that the double bond is present on the first carbon atom. Here the 2 indicates the double bond, ENE indicates double bond position, okay. ENE present at second carbon atom, that is to say that between second and third carbon atoms, okay. So this is how we can name it, right. I think you got the clear idea how we are naming the carbon chain based on alkenes, based on the number of carbon atoms present in the chain and also based on the position of the double bond within the carbon chain, okay. For suppose if we are going to have this way CH3, CH, CH3, CH, double bond CH2, okay. Now here I can number the carbon chain in this fashion, okay. So I have to select the continuous carbon chain. So if I am going this direction 1, 2, 3, 4, or if I am going 1, 2, 3 followed by upside 4 carbon atom. In both the directions I am getting only 4 carbon atoms in the continuous carbon chain. So I have selected the straight chain as a continuous carbon chain, numbering the carbon chain such that the carbon involved in double bond formation gets the lowest priority as a 1, okay. And here the double bond is present between the first carbon and second carbon atoms. How many carbon atoms are present here? We have 4 carbon atoms. So the root word should be but, okay, the root word is but. But if we observe, we have a CH3 group at third position. On third carbon we have a CH3. So whenever we have a alkyl group, as generally it is treated as a substituent here. So the substituent name we know, alkane minus 1 hydrogen, we get alkyl. So methane minus hydrogen, it is methyl. Where it is present? It is present on the third carbon atom. So we write it as 3 methyl, and this is 1 butene, or you can write it as but 1 ene, okay, or you can write it as 3 methyl 1 butene. Of course here I am changing the location and indicating the position of the double bond. I am writing the position first followed by the but and ene, okay. So both are correct, 3 methyl but 1 ene or 3 methyl 1 butene, both are correct nomenclatures in this case, okay. So whenever we have a alkyl chain, in that case we have to treat them as substituents, and the substituents names as usual what we have written in the case of alkanes, their position and their name has to be written as a prefixes followed by the name of the parent name and along with the location of the double bond, and we have to write ENE attached to the root word, okay. This is how we can clearly write the names, okay. Trivial names, if we observe, trivial names are the common names generally we encounter for alkenes. So here if I observe CH2 double bond CH2, we call it as ethylene. So the common name of first member of the alkene family is called ethylene, okay. And if we observe the 3 carbon chain, it is called as propylene. So propylene, ethylene, butylene, are the general names that we are going to use as a common names for the alkenes. Okay. So if we are going to take this as a alkene, so here the double bond is present between the first and second carbon atoms, we call it as butylene. Butylene. Okay. For suppose if we have a double bond between the middle carbons, that are second and third carbons, if they are double bond with the 4 carbon chain, we call it as symmetrical butylene. We call it as symmetrical butylene. Okay. 2 carbon chain is called as ethylene, 3 carbon chain is called as propylene, and when we have 4 carbon chain we call it as butylene, and in that case when we have a 4 carbon chain but the double bond is present in the middle, we get a symmetrical molecule, so we call it as a symmetrical butylene. Okay. So these are the general names or the trivial names, common names generally we encountered in case of alkenes. Okay. Students, I think you got a clear idea how we are going to name the alkenes, the trivial names. So we will come across or we will come up with some more interesting nomenclature as well as the molecules in the next class. Until then, have a nice time. Thank you.